So why does the internet hate Chris Brown? What's he done that's so bad? Well, let's talk about it. So you all know this guy, his name's Chris, and this story starts when he's 19, and he's already a famous singer at this point, and he's legitimately a very talented guy. And during this period, he just so happens to be dating another famous singer, this woman, Rihanna. So one night in 2009, Chris and Rihanna are driving around town. When Rihanna, I guess she's looking at his phone and she sees something suspicious. A text from a girl that he used to smash with. And this pisses her off, and she accuses him of cheating, and she's screaming, "You're such a liar! I hate you!" And she tries to kick him as he's driving. And of course, this pisses Chris off. And so then, boom, he starts punching her in the face with his right hand while he drives with his left. And bam, she spits on him because she's got blood in her mouth. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you when we get home." And so Rihanna gets scared, and she tries to call her assistant. But her assistant doesn't answer. And so Rihanna fakes a conversation and is like, "Make sure the cops are there when I get home." I guess she's trying to scare Chris. But Chris doesn't get scared. In fact, he threatens to unalive her. And so he pulls the car over and he starts choking her, and she immediately screams out the window, "Help! He's trying to unalive me!" And the neighbors hear and they call police. A few hours later, bam, Chris is arrested.
Brown was arrested February 8th, just hours after he was accused of beating Rihanna.
Now, of course, this news blows up because they're both so famous. In fact, it's one of the biggest news stories of that year. And photos of her face all beat up, they leak, and they're brutal. And the platforms, they don't allow me to show pictures of domestic abuse, but I mean, you can Google it, it's really bad. And so anyway, Chris ends up going to court and he takes a plea deal and he gets 5 years probation. And to try and rehabilitate his reputation, Chris releases a public apology.
I am very sad and very ashamed of what I've done. I have told Rihanna countless times, and I'm telling you today that I'm truly, truly sorry and that I wasn't able to handle the situation both differently and better.
And so yeah, it seems like he learned his lesson and that he'll never do anything like this ever again. Until... oh no, it turns out old Chris has quite the anger problem. Because 4 years later, it's 2013. He's now around 24 years old, and he's still on probation for beating up Rihanna. And one night, he's in a parking lot, and I guess singer Frank Ocean is there? And Frank and Chris, they get into some kind of argument over a parking space. And this argument gets heated. And it gets so heated that, pow, Chris allegedly punches Frank in the face. And then it kind of turns into a big group brawl. And apparently Sean Kingston is there watching it all. So, you know, shout out to Sean Kingston. Beautiful girls. Now, lucky for Chris, Frank Ocean decides not to press charges. But then, one night it happens again. Chris is in Washington, D.C., leaving a hotel when two girls see him and they ask him for a picture. And so Chris stops to take a picture, and I guess there's some random guy there who thinks it would be funny to photobomb them. So he jumps in their picture and he's like, "Ah, hey!" And Chris gets super pissed off and says, "I'm not down with that gay shit!" And pow, he punches him in the face and it breaks his nose. And so then, bam, Chris is arrested again. Here's his mugshot, and here he is in court. Then, while he's waiting to be officially sentenced, he's out on bail, and he goes to an anger management rehab facility to work on some of his issues. And one day, he's there in a family session with his mom. And Chris, you know, he just doesn't want to be there. He wants to leave. But his mom tells him that she wants him to stay, that it'll be good for him. And for whatever reason, this pisses Chris off. And he apparently flips out and he leaves the facility and he walks outside, picks up a huge rock, and kaboom, he smashes it through her car window. He did that to his own mom. And of course, he gets kicked out of rehab because, you know, you can't be violent in rehab. And so he goes back before the judge, and the judge orders him to attend another rehab facility, making it clear if you leave this rehab facility, you're definitely going to jail. So in 2014, Chris is at a new anger management rehab facility, and one day they're all doing a group therapy session, and the facilitator starts this exercise with the group. He's like, "Let's go around the room and everyone say something that you're good at doing. Chris, what are you good at doing?" And I guess Chris is grumpy that day or something, and he's like, "I'm good at using guns and knives," which is not the best thing to say when you're in anger management. And of course everyone's like, "What the fuck?" And so anyway, boom, Chris gets kicked out of rehab again. And because of that, he has to spend 108 days in jail. Oh, but it keeps going. 2 years later, New Year's Day, Chris has a little party in his Las Vegas hotel room, and a woman there ends up taking a picture of him without his consent. And Chris, he gets real pissed off again, and he's like, pow! He allegedly punches her right in the face. And of course, she ends up filing a lawsuit against him, and Chris gets mad that she did this, and he posts about it on his social media.
Obviously, somebody's looking to get a check or start some shit. I don't know this old looking bitch. This bitch old, like dusty. She came to Vegas. She probably came to my room. It was too ugly to get in.
Anyways, this drama ends when Chris ends up settling with this woman out of court. That same year, in 2016, Chris gets in trouble again because he had hired some kind of manager to help him rehabilitate his bad image. But one day, he allegedly gets mad at that guy and he flips out and he starts punching his own manager. And the manager ends up suing him, and once again, they settle out of court. And so bro just keeps going. Like, you can see a pattern here. Over the years, he's accused again and again and again of assaulting people and essaying many different women, including one time in 2020 on Diddy's yacht where he allegedly essayed a dancer he met there. 'Cause, you know, Chris and Diddy were apparently friends. In fact, since that first incident with Rihanna back in 2009, there has never been a time period where he wasn't dealing with some sort of serious accusation or assault charge. But then we get to what's going on with him recently. So it's 2023, and Chris is around 34 years old now, and he's on tour in the UK, when one night he goes out to a nightclub in London. And there, Chris gets pissed off for some reason, probably over some dumb shit, and he allegedly picks up a bottle of tequila, and boom, he smashes it over this music producer's head. And the music producer falls to the ground, laying there unconscious as Chris punches and kicks him. Allegedly. And so, of course, local police put out a warrant for Chris's arrest, but by this time, he's already left the country. And 2 years go by, and now it's 2025. And Chris goes on tour again. And for the first time in 2 years, he comes back to England. Once he's there, in his hotel, boom, police arrest him. And I don't have a mugshot for this, but I do have this mugshot from 2018, where he got arrested for apparently assaulting a photographer that I didn't even have time to get into that story. Anyways, as of right now, he's out on bail and free to go on his tour. However, if he is found guilty of this 2023 assault, he's facing up to 16 years in prison.